This was Elvis Presley's co-pilot on the Lisa Marie. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you Mr. Ron Strauss.
Thank you very much. What a hard act to follow. Good evening, everyone. I hope you enjoy it. If the mic, you don't hear it, just raise your hand and I'll increase the volume. But anyway, I started off, went to the Air Force when I was 17, and I ended up, of course, flying Elvis. And ended up with 30,000 hours, roughly speaking, 10,000 takeoff and landings. Been all over the world. Fortunately, every state in the United States, every continent except the Antarctic. Been to 4 out of 5 territories. Just had one heck of a time. I went to the Air Force and my parents had to sign for me because I was only 17. But anyway, what a career it's been. So anyway, enough about me. Let's talk about Elvis. So, meeting Elvis, I had a lot of Convair 880, 880M, and 990 time. And of course that was the Lisa Marie. And I knew the broker and that's how I got the job. But anyway, meeting Elvis was just unbelievable. We had gotten the airplane from Fort Worth, took it to Long Beach, then to Nashville, and had it certified. And then we brought it into Memphis here. And we thought, well, geez, we're going to meet Elvis. Now, he's not seen the airplane completely done. So we landed here midday, no Elvis. So we waited till 4 or 5 o'clock, went home. Next day, same thing. Next day, we get the call from Joe Esposito, and he says, get out the airplane, Elvis wants to see it and meet the flight crew. Now, we interviewed with Vernon Presley, so we'd never seen Elvis. And we're all sitting in the cockpit, and we're looking out the window. Here comes Elvis. So he toured the airplane, and then invited us one at a time out to meet him. And what a shocker that was for me. He had this great big grin sitting on one of the chair backs. And he looked at me and he says, well, I guess you know who I am. And I said, yes, sir, Mr. Presley. No, none of this yesterday, none of this, Mr. Presley. And he says, I'm Elvis, can I call you Ron? And that's the way it was. But before I first take off, he came in the cockpit and he said, hey, look, I'm a little uneasy about flying. And I told him, I am too. And he looked at me, and I said, Elvis, I'm just kidding, you know. So he told us, you know, don't let anybody talk you into doing anything in the weather or mechanical. He says, just invite me up here, and that'll be it. So we flew into, our first flight was from Memphis here to Las Vegas. And then after a couple days there, he wanted to take the airplane down to Long Beach and to show Priscilla the airplane, which we did, and I met her there, and then we flew back to Vegas. But anyway, just the way he treated us was unreal. When we were at the Hilton, I talked to Joe Esposito. I said, Joe, I've never seen Elvis perform. We'd like to see it, you know. And he says, oh, wait a minute, I'll call you back. And he did. He says, be down here tomorrow night. And I said, well, what do we do? He said, just tell them who the hell you are, and we'll have a seat reserved for you. I said, okay. So that's exactly what we did. We had the best seats in the house. And the three of us, there was us 2 pilots, and then we had a flight engineer. And we're sitting there, and Elvis starts, you know, singing his songs, doing his show, and he does about 2 or 3 songs, and then he stops, and he says, hey, time out, wait a minute, I want to introduce my flight crew. And he called us each one by name, had to stand up, wave at the crowd, and I just was astounded. I never bought another thing in the Hilton. Everything was paid for. I mean, he knew exactly what he was doing. But what a way he treated us. I mean, the gifts. I've got a Corvette that I bought here in Memphis in 1976, and I still got it. It's the only Corvette in the world that was driven in Elvis's Bruno possession. So I'm going to keep it, will it to my son. But anyway, the way he treated this was just, and the money he spent. Now the airplane burnt about 2,000 gallons an hour. And I think back then we were paying, something like, I don't know, 75 cents or something like that. But it was pretty expensive. And it was just, I got hijacked in 1974, ended up in Cuba. And Elvis found out about it, and he says, someday, will you tell me that story? And I said, absolutely. So he came to the cockpit one time, and he says, Ron, you busy? Yeah. And he says, tell me that story. And I did. But that's the way he treated us, just first name basis all the way. And then, at the time, his girlfriend was Linda Thompson. I really liked her. She was very nice to us. And whenever they came on the airplane, they would always come in, except after the concerts. Lots of times Elvis was just beat. So he would just go to the back, whatever he did. But they would come in the cockpit and say, hi, how's it going? And then when we got to our destination, they'd do the same thing. You need anything? And we're fine. But anyway, I hadn't seen Linda for probably a month or something like that. And we ended up in Long Beach, and I'm sitting there doing some paperwork, and here she comes in, her and Elvis, and hey gang, how's it doing? Now, most of you know Linda Thompson, and good-looking lady, blonde. I turned around and looked at her to say hi, and my mouth just dropped. And here she was sitting in blonde hair, tan skin, American Native Indian outfit on with a feather in her hair. And Elvis looked right at me, and he says, I won't use the words that he used, but he says, Ron, don't even think about it. I'm going to shoot Elvis out of the saddle, right? So anyway, off we go, we get to our destination, and it was Linda's M.O. to kiss each one of us on the cheek as they departed the airplane. So she kissed the engineer and kissed me on the cheek, and she whispered in my ear, Ron, don't give up, you still got a chance. It was just a blast flying there then, and it was just the money he gave away. I bought this Corvette right down Elvis Presley Boulevard with the tips that he gave me. We took off one night out of Long Beach, and we'd done the Seal Beach departure, which is out over the Pacific. And you really got to pay attention to what's going on, because once you go past the coastline, it's black, so you got to pay attention. And what we did, as soon as we took off, got out over the Pacific, and I'm flying, and Elvis walks in, and he throws a check on the radio panel. And I glance at it, and I look at it, it's $300. And the other pilot, the engineer, was getting all excited. Geez, I thought, what the hell are they getting excited? $300, $100 a piece. That's not that much. So they were still getting excited, and the other pilot says, Ron, give me the airplane, look at that check. It was $3,000, $1,000 a piece. Now that's pretty darn good, you know? But that's what he did. He just gave away stuff like you wouldn't believe it. It wasn't all roses. We were on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And we could not drink, we wouldn't dare drink. So I just quit drinking. But every once in a while, I was also responsible for the maintenance, not to have it, not that I had to do it, because I was licensed to do it, but I had to make sure it was done and done correctly. And so every 2 or 3 months, I'd say to the crew, you guys ready for a beer or something? Yeah. So I'd go around the airplane for A or B or C inspection. And I would talk to Vernon Presley first to make sure that, Elvis didn't have anything scheduled on his days off. So talked to Vernon and said, the airplane, we got to ground the airplane for A and C inspection. And he says, geez, Ron, you do a lot of inspection on that airplane. And I said, yeah, there's 3 very important people on that airplane. Who's that? I said, you, Elvis, and me. He says, keep them inspections going, So that's the only way we could have a beer. But the other thing, we were taxing, we done the New Year's, or he did a New Year's concert someplace, Pittsburgh or someplace. And we were taxiing out, and it's just about daybreak. And we get a call from the FBO there that we worked through, and they said, hey, taxi back. And we said, well, why? He said, just taxi back, we got to talk to you. We don't want to taxi back. He said, well, you better, because you got a bomb scare on the airplane. Whoops. So now we're all furloughed airline people, and once you get an airplane on the ground, you know, that's it. But anyway, so we stopped, we called Joe Esposito up, said, hey, Joe, we're going to taxi back in with you, tell Elvis, we got a bomb scare. And he said, don't go anyplace, just stay here. Okay. So we stopped, and Joe came back about 5 minutes. He says, take us to Memphis. What the hell? I mean, we're just not going to do that. He said, we've been getting bomb scares in front of Elvis' husband. He said, just take off. So there's a regulation that says below 10,000 feet, not to exceed 250 knots indicated. And so the other pilot said, well, Ron, it's your leg. Drive it or fly it like you stole it. And that's exactly what I did. As soon as we got the gear and flaps up, I just let it go to Barber Cove, which is the best airplane is capable of going. And we stayed around 20,000 feet just in case it was a real bomb. But anyway, the same way coming in here to Memphis, they just kept it Barber Cove right on until the last minute and threw everything out. Man, never so glad to get on the ground. But anyway, Elvis is just unbelievable the way he treated me. He just feels so comfortable. It was unbelievable. Just, and the money he spent. You know, one time we were scheduled to go, we got a call from Joe and said, hey, we're going to go to Boston tomorrow. I said, well, how long are we going to be there? And he says, well, we got to take a dog there for an operation. I said, okay. So the next day we get ready, and here comes two people and a dog. Okay. So we figured, well, how long we're going to be there? And they said, just drop off the dog and your two people, and come on back. Okay. So here comes these two people with a dog. They get on the airplane, and we're waiting. And the flight attendant came up and said, do we have a mechanical problem? And they said, no, no problem at all. We're just waiting for the rest of the passengers. And she says, that's it. And I said, two people and a dog, we're going to Boston. They said, yeah. So off we went to Boston, we dropped them off, came back to Memphis. About 5 hours flying, 10,000 gallons. No problem at all. So, but it was just, we went, I'll tell you the peanut butter jelly sandwich. Because everybody knows about it very much. Anyway, it was Lisa Marie's, I don't know, 7th, 8th, 9th birthday, and we were scheduled to go to Denver and sing happy birthday to her, and then drop her off at Long Beach, and then fly back to Memphis. So we took off, landed at Denver Stapleton, which is now closed, and here comes Fool or Gold's Fool or whatever. They delivered these peanut butter jelly and bacon sandwiches to us. And they were 28 bucks a piece. They were about that big around. And I only ate a couple bites, and that was enough for me. It was just too sweet. But anyway, then we sang Happy Birthday to Lisa. And I bet you can't guess who the lead singer was. Sure wasn't me. So anyway, we were checking the weather constantly. And the weather in the Long Beach Basin area was 0. So we invited Elvis into the cockpit, and we said, hey, look, the weather is below minimum. Nobody's getting in, and we're going to have to divert with you, and it will be a big pain in the, you know what. So he says, well, I guess you guys don't want to go. I said, well, we'll do it, but we're not going to get in until, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, we can't hold that long. And he said, well, just wait a minute. So he decided, came back to cockpit, he told the security, he said, take Lisa Marie, take her to a hotel, spend the night, and then have her commercial in with you the next day. And so we figured, well, we'll just go back to Memphis. And then he says, go to Louisiana, Baton Rouge, or some Shreveport, one of them. And I thought, well, this is going to be exciting. Bring Elvis Presley into someplace with no pre-planning at all. And so anyway, we took off, and Elvis, just a lot of times, he would set the jump seat for takeoff or for landing. And here he was in his pajamas, and he's sitting in the jump seat, and we landed right at daybreak, and we have no clue where to go. So when we landed, I asked the tower, I said, hey, where can we go to get some fuel? And he says, we're trying that Mexico over there. Okay, fine. So off we go, over there, and get settled in. And here comes this young manager, midnight manager, about 30 years old, and comes up. He didn't see Elvis, comes in cockpit, he didn't see Elvis standing. He walks in and he says, what do you guys want? And I says, well, we'd like to have some fuel. Well, how much fuel do you want? And I said, $5,000 would be fine. And he says, well, who the hell's going to pay for that? I said, that guy right there. And he says, Elvis Presley. And he shakes his hand, you know, and it's all excited. He says, my wife is in love with you. If I call her when you need her, and he says, yeah, no problem at all. So we told the manager, said, hey, look, you better hustle, get her hustle out of here, because we can only drag her feet so much. So now can you imagine, she was a very attractive lady, laying in bed, 6 o'clock in the morning, gets a call from her husband, get out here right now. Do you put your makeup on, or do you not? Anyway, she evidently decided to put her makeup on, and we couldn't, we just kept delaying, but we couldn't. And finally, the security guard, Dick DeRoe, came up and said, hey, do we have a mechanical? And I said, no. It just takes a while to get things ready. And he says, Elvis wants to go to Memphis. So we decided, well, it's a better time to go. And off we went. And as we taxied out, here's this woman yelling, stop flagging, you know, stop, stop, stop. Well, hell, there ain't no way we're going to stop. Off we went. So I'm sort of restricted on time. Normally I give these talks for an hour, but I'm going to cut it short tonight because of other things. But anyway, if you got any questions, John here is going to take the mic and run around. But let me tell you, just meeting Elvis and the way he treated us was unbelievably nice. Just very, very nice. So here you go. This is John, and he's going to go around and see if anybody wants to ask any questions.
And by the way, we do have some really cool pictures of the Lisa Marie in the gift shop. It's actually a set of photos inside and out. So if you don't have anything for Ron to sign, we do certainly have some things in the gift shop. Yeah, they're from Jimmy though. Anybody have any questions for Ron?
Yeah, I got one.
You got one? Oh, he's okay. Yeah, cool.
Guess how long was the runway in Pine Bluff, Alabama? Because the best I can remember, you and Elwood Davis said, oh, it's about 5,400 feet. I happened to be in the cockpit at that time. Never about nowhere. And y'all kept saying, good about your practical jokes. And kept saying, well, we go come to a stop in a minute. We'll come to a stop in a minute. When we got down to the drop off, and I mean, it comes up like they got a fantastic job of landing that plane next on the runway. I don't know if you remember it, but
Anybody else? person in the back.
Do when you were just sitting and not playing and you paint for all this time and you're not playing. You're on a paint plan, right? But you're not done. What do you do during those times?
That's a pretty good question. What do we do in our off time? There actually wasn't any off time. What happened is Elvis was on tour. He would be on tour for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, he was on vacation. But we weren't. We were on call. And in Memphis, I hope it don't offend anybody, but the weather normally in the wintertime in Memphis isn't the best in the world. And he had a house out in Palm Springs. And after the tour, we would go out there. And we just go to the Sheraton Hotel. We go out and pre-fly the airplane every day to make sure it was available to fly. And the engineer and I played tennis all day. That's all we did. So we got per diem. So it wasn't a problem. That's what we did. Any more questions? Since I'm getting off pretty light, but it's cheap. Don't cost you a penny. Pardon? Oh, get caught sleeping on the bed. I did. You know what would happen just many a times? We'd get a call at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and security would call, get out the airplane. Elvis wants to go. Where are we going? No, he just wants to go someplace. Okay. So went out there many a times, and no sure when the sun came up, we'd just go home because we know Elvis didn't want to fly in the daytime unless he had to. So this happened numerous times, and then this one time I got caught sleeping on Elvis's bed. When I got done with my work, the other pilot, he was laid out someplace, and the engineer was laid out. I didn't have any place to go, so I said, well, I'll just go back in Elvis's bed. And so I took my shoes off, threw a blanket over it, and I fell asleep. And I think it was Dick Grove that caught me. He came up, what the hell are you doing? Wake up, you know? And I said, geez, what's the problem? And he says, geez, I thought you were arrested, you know? And I said, well, I was sleeping until you rudely woke me up. And so then Elvis showed up, and we took off and went someplace where it was. And Elvis came in the cockpit. Hey, how's it going, gang? No problem. And he says, a little bit. He says, let me tell you, anytime you want, you can sleep in my bed. Wasn't that nice of him? Just fantastic. But that's the way he treated us. I mean, the gifts he gave us was unbelievable. The cars he gave away. He wanted to take Lisa to Vail to see the snow. So we would go into Vail with the airplane. We wanted to go into Stapleton. And then we limoed up to Vail. Everything paid. We skied, everything, meals paid. And in the middle of the night, for some reason, I don't know, Billy, maybe you were there. Were you? Yeah. And the friends around him wanted to buy or get 4 Cadillacs, and one of the guys didn't want a Cadillac, he wanted a truck, a pickup. So he called I don't know how he got the number, but he did. Called the Cadillac dealer 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and the guy hung up on it. He didn't believe it was Elvis. And so called him back. Said, this is Presley, I'm going to be down here in a couple hours. You better have these cars ready. So he bought 4 Cadillacs and a pickup truck, cash. And they drove them around, and I guess they shipped them to Memphis. What a hoot that was. I mean, it was just, he made you feel so at ease on everything. I mean, he push you. You were the boss on the airplane. I don't know what happened when we took off because we kept the cockpit door closed, not locked, but closed. So I don't know what happened back there, but we just had a blast up there and flying. More questions, come on. It'll be your last chance to do it. All right, well, if there's no other questions.
How about one when you hydraulic went out on the right side of the plane? When the hydraulics went out on the right side of the plane?
Oh, we had a hydraulic problem. I forget where it was. But you're right. And it was actually the strut. And it was right after a concert. And of course, if you played at a concert, we went out, 5 to 6 hours early to make sure that the airplane was ready to go. And we found there, the engineer found the strut that was really leaking. And it was pouring. And Jesus, how the hell are we going to get this fixed? We really want to get back to Memphis. And so somebody said, well, put some hydraulic fluid in it. It's 90 weight. And I said, where the hell do we get 90 weight fluid? And they said, at the truck stop out on the highway. So somebody went out there, got it, rejacked it up, put it up, and then we used a lot of air around the takeoff to make sure the weight wasn't on here. And we could do that. No problem. I ferried it over to Nashville and had it properly fixed. Thanks, Billy. Yes, sir. Well, the question was, what was my recollection of the last time I saw Elvis? Well, it was, I'm not sure, it was probably when we came back from Indianapolis. It was after the tour, we flew into Memphis, and then he left, and I think that was the last time. We had no idea what was going to happen. If we did, we would have took more pictures, etc. But we just had no idea what was going to happen. But after the funeral, then after his, I was at the mansion when he died. So we headed for Portland, Maine that night for a concert, and so I had a lot of bills to straighten around with Vernon Presley, and then. I asked Elvis one time, I said, hey Elvis, you got some pretty wicked go-karts. Would you mind if we drove them? No, he says, drive them all you want. And I think I drove the one that's over in the museum. But anyway, after I got done with Vernon, I was out driving his he had some real wicked go-karts. He really did. And I enjoyed driving. And then when it was done, I saw Nancy taking Elvis into the mansion. And I thought, ooh, boy, he don't look good. Anyway, I decided to go home to get some sleep. And my daughter's at the house, and she says, Elvis died. She's crying, Elvis died. And I said, nah, it's probably the old man. So anyway, I'm going to close and give the mic back to my friend, Carl. And I hope you enjoyed the talk. Yes, sir, Billy.
Did you ever see Jim Manning?
Did I what?
Engineer Jim Manning?
Yep, Jim Manning. The other pilot, Elwood David, he's passed on, and Jim Manning's still alive. And I meet with Jim once or twice a year. He lives in South Florida, and I live in Daytona Beach.
Well, let me just say, sir, that y'all were one heck of a crew.
We had a blast. Yeah, we really did. And we tried to pull a few jokes on Elvis. And Dick Grove, when the first flight we were going to fly with Elvis to Vegas, we said, let's pull a joke on him. So we got the book out on how to start the engines. And I go up to reach to start the engine, and the engineer goes, don't touch that thing, that ain't the way you start it. And then Elwood would try something. I'd say, hey, don't do that. And I'd get the book out and say, this is how you start it. And Elvis was sitting there looking at this thing. And then finally I said, Elvis, we're just kidding. And then we couldn't go the way it started. And Dick Grove came up and he says, say, you might have told a joke on Elvis, but he'll get back. He never did it. Anyway, that's 30 minutes is up. Anyway, I enjoyed talking to you guys. I hope you enjoyed it.